What's up, people? We're going to talk about some dry fire action here. We're going to talk about dry fire accountability. We're going to talk about dry fire intensity and focus. And we're going to talk about dry fire skills translating to live fire. I'm gathering a lot of data. A lot of people taking the video training stuff going on. Pretty cool. Pretty fun. Keeping me busy as hell, but pretty sweet. A lot of people getting a lot better. Some big differences, okay? The difference between somebody at week 1 and week 3 is crazy. So it's pretty fun to see that. It's a really fun, different dynamic. Not a lot of people doing it. I don't think there's really anyone else doing it. So I'd like to push it out there and get some more people, more and more. As many as I can handle, obviously. I don't really want to turn people down, but if I'm changing the format of it, it's going to be a 3-week program for $75 and a 4-week program for $100, okay? And that'll entail a big video breakdown, like 25 minutes of me breaking down your shooting from a small video you send me of some dry fire work or live fire, whatever you'd like. And then pretty much like a personal trainer. It's more of a coaching program than a instructor type of program. And the beauty of it is each week we drill down things and we get all this shit together, and I give you a plan and you send me a video here and there and all these little things in between I do, but you get a whole week to work on and myelinate and start getting things built into muscle memory or myelination or whatever you want to call it. And you get a whole week to work on a segment, and then we really break that down and figure out what you're learning, what you're not, what's coming easy, what's not, and then a whole another week to work on this set of things. And like I said, by week 3, people are turning into a whole different person. By week 4, people are really turning into, they're on another planet from when they started. So, and then it gives you just a whole nother way to look at things for the future. Now in this video, we're going to do something. Obviously, we can't get balls deep like we would in training or in coaching, but this is something that I'm seeing so much of that I think I got to get it out there. You know, this whole thing, the YouTube stuff, giving this shit out is so that more and more people can see it, and more people can start to get their skills up without, honestly, going and wasting their money on tactical classes and a bunch of shit where a guy gives you a technique, you get 13 seconds to practice it, and then you're on to the next thing. You're on the line with 25 other peterheads that may shoot you in the foot, may not. So it's not a very good learning environment. It's really not. It's why I don't believe in big classes. I do very small groups, maximum like 8 students, maximum, and they got to be pretty switched on if I'm going to do up to 8. If it's beginners, I'm going to do more than like 4, maybe 5. But if any more than that, I got to have another instructor. So I just don't believe in it. I think it's nonsense, and especially novice classes. Okay, little mini rant here. Novice classes that have like 20 people in them, get out of town. Get right out of town. I mean, seriously. It's not cool. It's not. So, that's my beliefs. I'm not in this to make money, apparently. So what we want to do here in this dry fire is, first off, I want to talk about what you want to get out of shooting, period. Because if I were to ask, just random people, shooters, hey, would you like to get better at shooting? And the person's honest, they'd probably say, yeah, sure, of course. But that person has been indoctrinated to think that they have to take classes, or they have to get into competition, or they have to, be tactical Timmies to get better. They have to spend money. They have to do this, training, books, DVDs, I don't know, whatever, Magpul DVDs or something. Like, people have been indoctrinated to think that it's going to take this big effort on your part to get just a little bit better. And what I'm all about is I just want you to be better tomorrow than you were last week, I want you to be a better shooter next year than you were this year. Now, if you want to get balls deep in this stuff and go from day 1 beginner to grandmaster, I want to be able to get you there in a nice straight line with no plateaus, okay? That's why we look for the best techniques and the best ways to do things. But for every other person, there's so much stuff out there that's just, I just can't believe it when I see it. And the biggest thing is when people say they have an indoor range or something. And I'm like, yo, you cannot sit there and shoot at a big ass target over and over and over again. This, that, no bueno, okay? We cannot do that. We cannot, all right? Don't sit there and shoot at a silhouette. Don't sit there and shoot at a big target. Nothing. We need to mix it up a bit. You can do so much at an indoor range. Even if they don't even let you draw or reload or any of that, we can do all that at the house, you know. And maybe you don't even give a shit about that. Maybe you just want to be a little better at putting bullets where they belong. Perfect. I got you covered. Right here, piece of printer paper. Draw some circles on it. A 4-inch circle, a 3-inch circle, a 2-inch circle, and a 1-inch circle. Put that bad boy at 5 yards, 7 yards, 10 yards. All right. 2, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 1. Whatever you got to do. Drive the gun. Force yourself, you know, to hold a little bit more accountability. Force yourself to focus a little harder. If you're behind this gun and you're focusing and driving yourself to perform at just even the littlest more, just a little bit more than you did last week at the range, you are going to grow. Okay, it's the exact same thing. You know, when I'm coaching these 3-week, 4-week, whatever sessions with people, I use a ton of analogies to lifting weights. I use a ton of analogies to working out. It's more of a personal trainer, a shooting personal trainer than anything. And the analogy to what people do is they go to the range every 2 weeks or every once a month or something. They shoot their silhouette or whatever. They get their group that's like this at 10 yards. And they say, well, that guy would have been dead. If that guy let me sit there and shoot at him for 38 minutes straight, he'd have been a dead son of a bitch. I tell you. Okay, we need to get that out of our heads, all right? And think of it like this. If we went to the gym once a month and grabbed a couple of plates and threw them on, and we had 135 on the bench, 135 squat, 135 deadlift, 135 overhead, whatever. Okay, you'd be pretty strong at overhead, 135 at least. I don't know. You know, you wouldn't get any stronger. You wouldn't. You'd be able to maintain. You wouldn't lose strength necessarily, but you would not grow because you're not tearing down, you're not building back. We need to push ourselves to failure. Same way we tear our muscles, they grow back bigger, we get stronger. Exact same thing. We have to push ourselves. We have to force ourselves the accountability and the intensity and the focus to do things better, to do things more precise, do things crisper, whatever the hell, and push ourselves to just do things. Maybe it's a little faster, maybe it's a little more accurate. It doesn't matter. Just push yourself just a little bit past what you did last time. It's not that big of a deal. Now, if you want to get good at this shit and you want to go to the next level and you just want to bump up in the game a couple of notches, right? Which is most of the people that come to me, they're wanting to go somewhere. They're wanting to, maybe they're just doing concealment stuff. About half of it's USPSA guys and half of it's concealment guys. And they just want to be slick. They just want that nice slick draw from anywhere. They just want to know that that thing that they're carrying around all day, they can do serious work with. So they come to me, we bump them up, and that's it. I just want you to have a nice linear progression. I just want you to not hit plateau after plateau after plateau, and then 10 years later, you're like this much better of a shooter. I just want you to go to badass, okay? And wherever your determination level runs out, that's where you plateau. Not because of what I give you, not because of the techniques that we talk about, not because of the philosophies and the concepts and the principles that we talk about, because you just said, man, that's good enough for me, okay? Then you can maintain at that level, but at least that level's up here and not just chilling, right? Anyway, so that's 10 minutes of nonsense. All right, so accountability and dry practice. So what we want to think about, there's a couple things here. Focus, intensity, accountability, and exercise selection. All right. Now, what I want you guys to think about, and the golden nugget here, the entire premise of this whole thing, is to absolutely 100% simulate dry fire or simulate live fire as much as humanly possible. How do we do that? With accountability. The only thing that I don't practice in dry practice is the actual reciprocation of this slide under recoil. That is it. Everything else I'm doing exactly the same as I would under actual fire, and that's how my performance grows. In the last 6 months, I have gotten exponentially better than I was before. One, because I'm forced to, because I'm putting things out and teaching this stuff, and I want to be at the highest levels, and I'm not satisfied. I want to make GM this year. I want to be top 20 in nationals within 5 years. I have goals after goals after goals that I want to hit. And yes, I want to put that out there so it pressures the shit out of me so that I dry fire 5 times a week instead of 3. Okay? So remember I said that. I want to simulate live practice. Okay? I'm gripping this gun. My fingertips are about to rip off after 25 minutes. I'm grinding. I have to scrub the dead skin out of my stippling at least once a week because I'm filling my grip up with my hand. Just, okay, every time, every rep. We're getting down, okay? There's no nonsense, no bullshit. Don't dry fire for 30 minutes half-assed. Dry fire for 15, getting it, okay? So, exercise selection, accountability, focus, intensity, and the 3 modes, right? So exercise selection, what I want you to think about, Ben Stoeger, we're going to use some Steve Anderson stuff, and we're going to use some Ben Stoeger stuff. Ben Stoeger has elements drills, all right? In his dry fire books and things, these are badass books, Repetition and Refinement from Steve Anderson, Dry Fire Reloaded, Dry Fire 1, all these different books from Ben Stoeger. Very good baselines to go off of, whatever. But elements is going to be just your basic draw. So when I begin my dry fire sessions or when I'm doing the coaching, usually we're going to begin by warming up with some basic draws, basic elements tests where we're just kind of doing our thing. We're not going 100%. We're not going full speed or anything. Just kind of getting sight pictures. Maybe we're prepping triggers, working on a little bit of different skills. Maybe we're even breaking triggers, okay? Usually, I'm just going to prep, okay, over and over and over. You know, I'm not going to do it 100 times, but I'm going to get a couple reps in. We're going to do some reloads, okay? Right? I'm going to rock out some stuff here. We're just going to get nasty. We're going to get going. We're going to do some isolation drills. The element section of this will be isolation stuff, simple stuff. Then, this is where the gravy hits the road here, all right? This is where we got to get down and the actual accountability really starts to take hold. See, that whole time doing the isolation stuff, I'm gripping the pistol. I got a sight picture prep trigger. I'm reloading the gun. I'm gripping the pistol back. Everything is fully accountable and full focus, okay? But once we start to get into the more complex drills, that's where we start to really do some things, okay? So the element stuff, work that. You know, we'll get into the 3 modes here in a second, but the element stuff, just kind of work that at your match mode speed, maybe even slow and lead up to the match mode, kind of your normal speed, right? Getting down, doing what you're doing, not speed mode, you're not trying to break any records, you're not trying to set any PRs or anything, you're just doing your thing. So, I got a couple things written down here. So now we get to the complex stuff, okay? This is where the rubber hits the road. I don't think that enough people are doing enough complex drills in their dry practice. And that's why, you know, you see this shit on Instagram, okay? Here's an Instagram drill for you. Pow, pow. And it's like, okay, 1 reload 1, huh? Okay, awesome. Worst freaking drill ever. Live fire, dry fire, anything. Worst drill ever. It is. It's just useless. People do that drill in live fire all the time and tell me that they got a 1-second reload. And I'm like, all right, bust out an El Prez. bang, 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 reload, bang, 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 bang. Oh, that was a 1.7 reload. That's not correlating with your dry fire times, and that's not correlating with that dumbass drill. Why? Oh, it's because when you do that, you throw the gun up, bang, you blow a round off, you don't have a good grip, you don't have a perfect sight picture, you reload the gun, and you throw another round off without a good grip or a good sight picture, and you're cutting off a half a second of the good shit, of the real shit, out of a drill. So all you're doing is junk training. Junk training. Maybe, with the rifle, one reload one is okay because rifle recoil is not quite as bad. Although still, I think it's kind of junk. I prefer 2 reload 2 or 3 reload 3 or 2 head reload 2 body. Something to add a little complexity. Aimed fire, solid grip, reload, aimed fire, solid grip, the whole works. That will lead to being able to do it in the middle of an L-Pres or an accelerator or something like that. So now we get into the 3 modes here, and in the complex drills, the 3 modes, we want to work perfect mode. Okay, it's a little bit different from live fire. Perfect mode is going to represent no fail mode. Okay, absolute perfection, 100% accountability, absolute perfection. Around 50% speed and 75% speed. So if we were doing, let's say L-Pres, okay? If I was going to do L-Pres, my normal L-Pres, all alphas, where I want to be, what I want to hit in a match, in a classifier, is about 4.5 seconds all clean. Maybe 4.6, 4.7 all clean would definitely get me my GM classifier done. I'd be good to go with that. I can hit way less than that. I can hit 4 seconds clean. Not all the time or anything, but pretty good with 2 Charlies, maybe 3 Charlies at 4 seconds. At 4.5, at 5 seconds flat, I can do them from concealment and be all clean. So let's say 4.5 is my number. That's my match mode, what I want to hit. So in no fail mode, in perfect reps mode, I'm going to add almost a whole total onto that and do like an 8-second L-Pres where I turn around. Okay, turn around, ding, ding. Perfect. Just money, everything. And I just feel what that feels like, okay? And I don't do a whole ton of that at like 50%, but I still do it, okay? I still do it. And you saw right there I was going that slow. I kind of nicked my magwell and didn't quite get it, doesn't have a magwell on the gun or anything, but I didn't quite get a good insertion because it's weird going that slow. It really is. My normal speed is just kind of chucking it in there and going. So it's weird. It's a weird thing. But it's important to do. We force ourselves to do that. Then we would go about 75 speed. Ding, 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 ding. Ding, 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 ding. Okay, great. About a 6-second L-Pres. Okay? Easy to do. Nice. Perfect reps. Perfect reps. And I would chill there for a minute. I do that a couple times, right? Perfect, perfect, perfect. Then I go from that bump right back to match mode, okay? And I do 2 or 3 at match mode, and then I go, all right, now we're in speed mode, all right? Now I'm gonna run down 3.75, some wild shit. I'm gonna be coming across, but this is where the but is. No matter speed mode, match mode, no fail mode, anything, this is slow, and this is super lightning fast. This is lightning fast. This is lightning fast. This is slow, because we have to simulate recoil. We have to simulate all the added stress, all the added hard shit that goes on when this gun's actually going off. So I'm gonna actually, I can run it easily about 20 splits at 10 yards, 22s, 23s, and be right across, money. 20 transitions, 21, 22 splits, I'm going to be golden right there. Not in dry fire. In dry fire, I'm actually going to back that down. I'm going to try to hit that 3.75 by drawing extremely fast, by reloading extremely fast, by pushing the gun in between extremely fast. But I am not going to make up the time by going whack, 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 whack. Because that's not going to do me a damn bit of good when the damn thing starts shooting actual bullets out of it. Okay? I have to stress this so hard to you that we shoot slow. I don't want to say the word slow, but we shoot slow and we move fast. I mean, that's just it. In dry practice, we shoot slow and we move fast. Now, this translates to live practice so well because it's so hard to move all your limbs, your eyeballs, your brain, your arms, you're rolling on your hips, you're pushing, you're driving, you're doing all this shit. Fast, 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 push, 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 central nervous system, you know, doing work. And then this little thing has to go at the perfect speed. This little thing has to say, dot press, dot press, dot press, dot press, dot press, dot press. How do we run this whole freaking mass unit fast as hell and this little thing nice and easy? That's the trick. That's the goal. That's the Wonder Bread. You know, that's the whole thing. So that's what's up. We move fast. We shoot slow. We work the 3 modes. Perfect reps. 50%, 75%. Okay? 100%, that means match mode, right? We hit those reps. We hit those reps. We hit those reps. Super accountable. Shoot slow. Move fast. Then we break into speed mode. We rock speed mode. Okay? We let her rip. We have magazines flying across the room. We do wild shit. Okay? We go nuts. Right? But this is slow. And all the other shit is super crazy fast. Seriously, like magazines freaking flying across the room. Okay? My reloads, I'm trying to go for like a .75 reload. I'm getting ridiculous. Okay? I'm throwing the magazine into the gun from like 6 inches away. Just going out of this world nuts. But my trigger finger's going. Okay? It's big. Accountability, hyper-focused, getting the rest of your body to move extremely fast and your trigger finger to move slow. Working the 3 modes. Exercise selection, complex drills, elements drills, draws, simple reloads where you're out. You know, simple stuff like that. Simple one-shot draws, transition draws to left hand, one-hand draws. Okay, all these little things. Throwing that gun over to that hand. I'll do a video of how I do that. Pretty little money technique. Kind of scoop draw, chuck it over, scoop draw, have your hand out of the way. Ooh. All right, that ought to do her. Accountability, exercise selection, complex drills, accelerator, L-Pres, little stages. You work them up, you think about them for 2 seconds, you run them. You set a par time, you see how you worked out, what you know, oh, this should take me about 5 seconds. You set a 5-second par time, you know, you move around. I use laundry baskets and shit. Simple laundry basket, and then I'll just kind of move around it, like burst around it in a circle and then come back. All kinds of little shit. I'll do little strips, little strip of cardboard as a fault line. Simple. Even if you're a defensive guy, doesn't matter. You don't just stand there and draw. Okay, we draw in step. We draw and walk forward. We draw on the retreat. You know, we might shadow box, we might touch up a little bit, move around, and draw. Okay? This, just a little fault line, sit it on the ground, lateral movement, forward, backward movement, have a place that you got to correspond to, get the brain working. When the brain's working on other shit, it's not so easy to do all this shit. Then we see where our skills are actually at when the brain is a little bit preoccupied, and it's not so easy just to go and put the mag in the gun. Whole thing. AR-15, Awesome. Table starts, sling work, working the sling, transitions. You might think that a lot of that stuff is just kind of tactical gooberness and it has no real applicable nature to everyday people. And it doesn't necessarily that, it's really not that applicable because the chances of that are so slim of us ever using it if you're not a police officer or military or something else that would require that. But it just makes you better all the way around. Just like people say, you shouldn't practice reloads from concealment. Horseshit, guy. Horseshit. It just makes you a better shooter all the way around. And guess what? When it comes down to it, and I need to do work with this thing right here, the better I am with this thing right here, the better work I'm going to do with it. Okay? Simple as that. It's as freaking simple as that. Okay? Just because you're going up against a pitcher that rarely throws curveballs doesn't mean you don't need to practice hitting curveballs. Same thing with all those little things that people are like, well, statistically, that's likely never to happen and you shouldn't practice that. And it's like, well, guy, you go ahead and not practice it. And then when my gun takes the weirdest shit ever and there's a quarter sticking out of the freaking slide of it somehow, or whatever the hell just happened, I'm going to be like, blow, blow, doing work. Whether it's from concealment or whatever. And you're going to be like, ugh. Like, this thing won't press check. All right, peace.